Who was born on March 3rd, 1943? I don't know. I just made that up. But there's people who do know. People love trivia. It's why the show Jeopardy has done so well. And one of the most famous trivia games in the world is Trivial Pursuit. Now, Trivial Pursuit is a game that a lot of folks like. They especially like the asking of questions and the knowing of knowledge. Some people aren't as keen on it because they don't know the answers, or maybe they just can't roll that number to land in the spot to get that final piece of pie to put into your thing. I don't know the answer to all the questions in Trivial Pursuit, but I do know the answer to some games that you should try out maybe instead. I'm here to talk about 10 games to offer up as maybe an alternative to Trivial Pursuit. Whether you like the game, these are games that you might like also, or if you dislike it, maybe these are games that will do what you want Trivial Pursuit to do, but better. Now, some people like giving the clues in Trivial Pursuit. You read the question and someone answers it. But that's not very often. And, people like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire because they get a clue. Do you want a 50-50 or whatever? Well, there are games where you can give clues to other people and have them guess. Codenames is a good example of this. Codenames is a game where you have a bunch of cards in the middle of the table and you are giving clues to other people. They're one-word clues as they guess which cards they're trying to get from the middle. Another game with clues is Time's Up. There are many different versions of this game in existence. I think Time's Up is the best one, where you have a bunch of names, or if you apply title recall, a bunch of book names or movie names, and you are giving clues to other people where they can get them and talking, and this is an actor who was in this play. Oh, I know who that person was. And they shout out the answers. But it also then generates so much laughter, one of the funniest games that you'll ever play. Concept is also another version of this where you are trying to get someone to guess things, but you aren't even talking in this one. You're just putting cubes on a board and putting them on colors or on shapes or on other clues. It's kind of like playing charades, but doing so on a board. A really entertaining game as people try to figure out how to interpret your clue to get the answer. Maybe you like knowing obscure stuff. Balderdash is certainly there for you. Now, Balderdash is a game that's been out for many years, but if you never played it, Balderdash has a word that no one knows the definition of probably, and everyone writes down what they think an actual definition of that word might be. You shuffle them up, they're read aloud, and everyone guesses the actual answer, trying to get it correctly. Now, of course, Balderdash can be really silly, but Balderdash also can give you the chance to show what you might know, because you can write an obscure fact no one knows, but it sounds like the right answer. Nitwit is a game that just came out in which you are basically using a Venn diagram. You need to name something that is blue and old and is often seen in movies. And you have these three different categories. You need to find a word that fits all three of them. Trying to figure that out is something a lot of people will like. Or Banned Words, which is a game in which you are trying to give clues to your teammates so they can guess a list of words. But the other team has written down words they think you will use in your clue giving, and they are going to get a point if you say them. So you are trying to describe these clues in weird ways. Now, Trivial Pursuit is about the trivia and knowing things. So let's talk about some games that do that well. One is Smarty Party. Smarty Party is a game that has like a list of things, and one person is going to read those to each person. And so I might say, what are the top 10 highest mountains in the world? And each person has to say one of the answers. Each time you say an answer, you get a check and you're doing well. But when it comes to you, if you don't know an answer, you take some points. Points are bad. So you want to know as many as you can, and hopefully the other people won't guess the thing you were about to say. Also in trivia, Draftometer. This is a strange looking game, but it's actually quite clever, where a bunch of numbers are put in the middle of the table, and you have to guess which one's the highest or which one is the lowest. So it might say the height of Mount Everest. It might say the number of inches in a mile or whatever. And you're thinking, of all these numbers that it's saying, which one's highest and which one's lowest is quite fun. More to the exacting of trivia, there's a game called America. Although there's other games in a series called Fauna and Terra. And in this game, you are given a fact. And it might say like the first state that corn dogs were invented in. And then people are going to guess which state it happened in. And other people are guessing. And you get points for being close. Or you might say, what's the longest giraffe neck that's ever been found? And you guess, and people are getting points for being close. And if you like that idea for being close to the right answer, then for me, the number one pick to replace Trivia Pursuit is a game called Wits and Wagers. Wits and Wagers is a game in which you are asked a numerical question that most people don't know. What percentage of Americans don't have a television? Everyone writes down their answer, they put them in the middle, and then you bet on the answer you think that is right. So even if you don't know the answer, you know that Uncle Billy always knows the answers to everything, and you can bet on him and still win the game that way. The closest to the answer without going over. A lot of fun trivia questions in the various forms of Wits and Wagers, one of my most highest recommended games. If you love Trivia Pursuit, fantastic. Some of us are not as big of a fans. These are 10 games that I would recommend you also check out. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.